Hey, it's 42 and it is another video. Man, have you guys noticed that the whole reparations argument has brought out so much dumb shit? And I predicted this in Black Power's meta that it's going to come from ideologues and racists. And it's just been, and it comes from ideologues because they don't know how to think. If they aren't regurgitating talking points, they just look flummoxed. And I saw this recently where some Chinese dude was on Tariq's Twitter talking about, I'm an immigrant, I just got here, I shouldn't have to pay reparations, I wasn't doing nothing. I'm like, this is a type of racism. I'm like, you're already doing something. The fact that you are talking about how you don't want to pay reparations now is some racist shit, because you weren't saying that when you were paying reparations all throughout the time you've been here. Because we've been paying reparations to people, to animals, to air, to capitalism. And now you got a problem with it? That is the definition of racism. That is selective outrage targeted at a people. And it just so happens that the people you're talking about have been the victims of more human rights violations than anybody, next to maybe the Hawaiians, and that's only because they've been genocided to the point where there's only a handful of them. The only thing worse than hundreds of years still going on, human rights violations, is just genocide to a man to where it ain't hardly anybody left. You know, you could say that for other Native Americans too. But for the most part, they've been getting reparations. They've done it like tribe by tribe. I don't think it's been thorough enough. But the overhead cost to set up the ownership of the casinos is reparations. You weren't saying shit then. That's the type of talking point racism that I said you're going to get from conservatives, even black conservatives. You know, you get that from black conservatives, and when you get it from black conservatives, all that is some weak, sick massa. I expected that. I also expected it from other ideologues, from liberal ideologues. I said you're gonna get it from them in Black Power's meta. I underestimated liberal ideologues. I didn't expect them to be this fool, especially black liberals. White liberals, for the most part, have not been as bad as black liberals. There's some blatant racist white liberals, but the blatant racist white liberals are basically people that want some Bernie Sanders socialism, European style. And then they start hearing, oh no, I'm not going to get that because brothers ain't going to vote for Bernie Sanders because he's a bigot, for the same reason the Chinese dude is. So now it's like, uh-oh, I got to target black people. And now they talking about how they don't want to pay reparations. I'm like, you're living in the reparations capital of the world. Or then they'll try to just sneak in the conversation and say, it's not going to happen. I'm like, reparations have been going on. What do you mean it's not going to happen? Like, you know, we just set aside some money to pay Israel, set aside some money to pay Holocaust survivors. We always passing some Clean Air Act. Ain't none of us can really say we messed up the air that significantly. You know, like a big business. You know, we might push a car around, own some livestock or whatever. But, you know, our carbon footprint is nothing compared to other people, and we all getting taxed the same way. And you weren't bitching about that now. I told him, I'm like, buy some fins and swim your ass back to China if you got a problem with it. Because how would I look if I moved to South Africa talking about the Khoisan shouldn't get some money for some shit that I wasn't involved in? This is a country. They move around money how they decide to budget. If America decides to act right and be about justice, and even if it did go down, the amount that could pass Congress is not going to significantly raise the budget. It's not going to raise the budget. Worth a damn. It's a blip. A significant amount that could do a lot. To where if it was more than just money, but I think it should be money, it was also land, sovereign territory, some business shares that were promised and reneged upon, and the overhead costs of setting that up, dual citizenship. You could do all of that in the, I won't say tens of trillions, but under 10 trillion over such an amount of years, And you'd still, the budget would still be focused on carrying white supremacy. But the thing though that surprised me, this whole dog whistle about some Soviet robots, how thorough it's been, how many people who are on CNN, people are supposed to represent black people that don't, are trying to smear a movement. I mean, the last person, Jamel Hill, and this dude on CNN, I don't even know his name, some old blockheaded dude, talking about A.D.O.S. is some goddamn Soviet robots. These fools. If you have a movement on Twitter and there's over 1,000 people, somebody's going to make some troll accounts. Is that what you're talking about? Or do you really think that people who you're having conversation with are AI programs that the Russians did to get Trump elected? But the one who surprised me the most has been Talib Kweli. What? This fool is talking about A.D.O.S works for Trump. An ounce of research would tell him that ain't the case. A.D.O.S ain't even, they're the goals for A.D.O.S ain't got nothing to do with Trump, hardly. Unless Trump decides that the only way he's going to stay in office is to fracture the black vote and starts talking reparations. If his talk here's my litmus test for how you get fooled, because somebody could say I'm in favor of reparations and then change your mind. The problem with that is it messes up the whole brand of the Republican Party. If they lie to us again, that'll set them back. It might work for 4 years, and then what? They ain't gonna get the black vote for, but the way you can tell is if their argument is strong. Like I said, Marianne Williamson, the mount was janky, but the argument was fine. And I've heard her on more occasions. Her argument is strong, it's sensible, it's convincing, and for now, she has my vote. Gabbard could get in there. I prefer Gabbard as a candidate, and Gabbard does support H.R. 40. Supporting H.R. 40 is kind of like the barely possible, because I like a whole bunch of other things about Gabbard. Anytime the people behind the war money start smearing somebody as being a toady, all that's another dog whistle word for I'm getting paid to run game. She was in the military, know what combat is like. At least I don't know if she was like front line, but she knows enough to where she's seen the horrors of war, where she's lost people. And the idea that she's going to go to Syria and some dude is going to mesmerize her like they think R. Kelly's doing with his homegirls that just got interviewed, that's silly. Nah, she just realizes that we spend way too much money, again, trying to carry white supremacy to empower companies that black people don't have a piece of. And all this money we spend trying to carry white supremacy, which doesn't benefit damn near none of us, not this Chinese dude. He ain't saying nothing about that. That's racism. That's selective type of stuff. And what it is it comes from the damn ideologies. That's repeating some dog whistle nonsense. And even, I told him, I'm like, you should buy some fins and swim your yellow ass back to China. And while you're at it, since Obama said the same thing, you can grab his high yellow ass and take him to Kenya with that nonsense. And then people say something like this, and here you got, and the thing about Talib Kweli, the reason why he's doing it, he may say otherwise, but he did admit that his brother worked for Kamala Harris. And I'm like, dude, you don't like how A.D.O.S made short work of Kamala Harris, but you should, because what we did to Kamala Harris, that was out of love. You can't come and that's the good thing about Obama, is he made black people say, okay. And this was early on, because we saw what was happening with gay rights. And then, like, when we'd mention that, we'd be called all kinds of homophobes and stuff. But we saw that, and we said, well, okay. We need more. We need more. So you get movements accordingly. Well, because Talib Kweli's brother worked for Kamala Harris, I think they were out of touch, just like them fools on CNN and some of them other black liberals with the whole Soviet robot nonsense. And that's what you end up with. He's salty over that when he should have been checking himself because he wasn't doing his homework. And now that he didn't do his homework, didn't predict A.D.O.S., and even if he had, Kamala Harris has shown that all she would have did was lie. I'd have trust her about as much as I would trust Trump if he was like, yeah, HR 40, good idea, reparations, yay. I mean, his argument would have to be a complete 180 to the idiocy. I mean, whenever I see Trump, I just see big water, look it up, big water, and I think of that bird from Watership Down, big water. And that to me is Trump. He's like the bird from Watership Down, inheritance. And I still say, and that's the thing that'll chap Talib Kweli. And I don't get it. I don't understand how you could look at black people right now. And had he done his homework, he would understand the conviction because A.D.O.S. laid it out, continues to lay it out. And I've made the case, I made the meme, smite the ass. Reparations are more Republicans. And then I show the Democratic donkey. I did that because I said, you know what? To be powerful, you're going to have to make real power moves. And Black Power's meta was accordingly. Reparations at the top of a short agenda. 4 things. Reparations, actually, I think reparations was number 2, but it's not really in order. All 4 things are very important. And that's how you become powerful. You get the resources, you get the competence, and you can then do more things. You have more power. That's all it is. And I'm disappointed in Talib Kweli, but I'm surprised because he thinks that people who follow him, because, you know, this dude has a lot of followers, and he should know the fact that you got a damn near 1 million followers and you only get at the most 20 likes when you say something negative about A.D.O.S., that means people ain't really fucking with you no more. And you look at the people who like him, and it's sycophants, and it's also bigots who are trying to encourage him to beef with a black agenda. They want to see that shit go down. Then you got people saying, hey, Tariq is the one who started A.D.O.S. They lying. They just trying to see him beef. And he ain't falling for that. But I have a feeling either he's going to wake up or he's going to really start targeting Tariq too. And we just going to end up with a big-headed puppet. I'd say, dude, get off the narcotic, because, I mean, Talib Kweli always seemed like more of a conscious rapper, but right now he seems like somebody who's snorting coke. You know, and I'm not saying this to defame him because I have any type of evidence at all. I'm just saying his tweets are totally irrational. He'll retweet a picture of Yvette Carnell wearing a MAGA hat. The damn picture looks like it's photoshopped from 10 feet away from the goddamn computer or whatever you're looking at, a cell phone, whatever. It looks like a Photoshop picture. And I'm asking him, I'm like, you got primaries on that picture? It looks shot. You know, show me the primaries. You know, because I know if Yvette Carnell wore a goddamn MAGA hat, it would be to get clicks. And her message has never been about, hey, Candace Owens, let's join the Republican Party who's offering jack shit too. It's never been that. So he's reaching. He's taking advantage of the dummies that are still co-signing him and the bigots that are co-signing him. And of all people, I'm disappointed, but seeing that his brother was on the Kamala Harris campaign, and I don't think it would have been personal if his brother would have been like, hey, look, after what happened with Obama, black folks are going to want something real. You just can't come talking about you like Converse and you used to bump Too Short. That's not going to work anymore. You're going to have to bring something real. And then Kamala Harris is so dumb and such a bad candidate, and her record really said enough. But the thing that really, she could have, even with her record, I could have said she was old, out of touch, playing the system, and now she did her homework and realized, okay, I've got to do something about, I have a sense of justice. That's the difference between her and someone like Marianne Williamson and maybe Tulsi Gabbard. Especially Tulsi Gabbard, I think her endorsement of HR 40 carries a little bit more, because living in Hawaii, in the land where you've had people genocided from the hundreds of thousands to like 5,000, last they counted, pure Hawaiians, she realizes that, hey, I've seen what the machine will do to people. If she's in favor of justice for Hawaiians, then that makes sense why she would sign HR 40, and, what'll be will be. I want to get more thoughts on it. Just saying you want to study reparations ain't enough, Tulsi. But it's more progress than we've had. And I like other things about her. I think she'd probably be the best president ever, but it ain't passing the litmus because we haven't really had a president to where it's like, oh, you're the best president ever. For black people, that's like hump your shoulders, so what? Big deal. And so disappointed at Talib Kweli. I mean, his idea of receipts that A.D.O.S is some bots or works for Trump are tired. Goddamn Photoshop picture. Yvette Carnell saying Trump is right about black poverty. Look, the village idiot could look and see, man, black folks are broke. And the village idiot would be right. So that's receipts on people working for Trump. You idiot. She been writing about the same message that she has now. Hasn't really changed a ton since 2014. Maybe even before that, but that's just about the same message that she has now. Hasn't really changed a ton since 2014. Maybe even before that, but that's just when I kind of got wind of her. That's about it, man. This has been, and I say this as one, I'm a black liberal. So it's disappointing, even though I predicted it. Like I mentioned Joy Reid, and she joined the idiocy boat. So, I predicted it would come from black liberals and Black Powers M.E.T.A and black conservatives. I underestimated the DNC sycophantic nature of the black liberal. I'm sorry. Maybe because I am one, but and credit to Jason Black, he had some influence on me to the point where I can say, you know what? The fact that I'm black first is why I'm inoculated from the bullshit. Why I can say reparations are more Republicans and not give a damn if Republicans have the White House, the Senate, the House, and the judiciary. I give a damn if they do. Because when I look at what will make black people powerful, the only thing that's coming from government is targeted specific resources. You could call it stimuli, you can call it reparations. That is the only thing that may be changing some family court laws, but that's the type of thing where if you have resources, you got people who are more trained in law, you can kind of yeoman that. You can bootstrap that. It's not as crucial, even though it's going to be awfully hard with resources or not. If you still got the same family laws that divide families, even with resources, it's going to be a burden. So it's something that should be on the tip of your tongue if you're talking black power. Did I put power? You know what I'm saying? So that's about it, man. 42 tribes. Somebody pray for Brother Talib to get off the narcotics.